It's the little things that are important, Jimmy. The little things that get you caught. Hey YouTube, welcome back to SIBZ, West Coast, East Coast Siblings, where we cover all of your favorite movies and TV shows. Today we are covering a film starring Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, and Jared Leto. Before we get into the review, don't forget to subscribe. Also click the bell so you can be notified of all of our coverage of all things movies and television. I'm currently covering WandaVision, so you can check that out along with our sister channel, The Lara Quente Ledger. So, getting into the little things. So this is one of Warner Brothers' first dual releases thing, with like releasing in theaters and releasing on HBO Max. I watched it on HBO Max because I don't think there are many theaters open here in LA right now. Also, it's not the kind of movie that you need to see in the movie theater, you know what I'm saying? The director for this movie was also the director who did The Blind Side. He directed The Blind Side, but the last movie that he wrote the screenplay for was Snow White and the Huntsman. So, not gonna lie, going into this, I was kind of like, is this gonna be good? I'm not gonna give any spoilers for this. This is a detective movie story, so if you wanna like watch the whole mystery, definitely do that. It's on HBO Max right now. I'm just gonna give you the general outline. Denzel Washington's character is named Deke. He was like a hotshot detective in LA, and then he had some emotional problems that they get into deeper in the story, and he ends up moving to a smaller town in California as a deputy. So he's kind of kicked to the curb. And what brings him back into town, into LA, is that there's been a series of murders of young women in kind of violent ways, and there's a serial killer pretty much running around. Rami Malek's character is a guy named Jimmy. He's like the hotshot detective, and he is the lead detective on the investigation of these murders. Now, Jared Leto's character is the suspected serial killer. Kind of interesting what they do with the story. They never full out say whether it's him or not. It's just everything is kind of leading to him, pointing to him, the way that he behaves. It's kind of like, yeah, you know you're sketchy dude, like, come on. So basically what happens is Deke and Jimmy end up working together on this case. Deke comes into town looking for evidence for a separate case, and he kind of gets pulled in. They have a rough start at the beginning. I don't get what Jimmy's problem is, but he's a little sassy to Deke, but then he finds out who he is, and the two of them decide to kind of unofficially partner on this serial killer case. Denzel Washington obviously is Denzel Washington, so his performance was exceptional. I mean, at this point, what do you expect? I think Rami Malek did a good job, but I also don't think there was much to the character. I really liked Denzel and Rami's chemistry. Deke's character, he's been around the block. He has had like a dark, seedy past. And while Jimmy is, you know, the hotshot, he also knows some things. He's been on a few cases, but definitely in this case, at some points, he is in over his head. So it's cool to kind of see their relationship. I thought they both did a great job bringing their relationship to life. They gave it some good depth and color. I also think Jared Leto did a great job as Morbius. I mean, Albert, the creepy potential suspect serial killer molester guy, he looks really disturbing. His physicality is really like that of a sketchy dude. I mean, not gonna lie, you look up serial killer in the dictionary and that's kind of exactly what Jared Leto looked like in this movie. So I think all the acting performances were good. Not gonna lie, I think those are pretty much what held the movie together. If you ask me, the storyline was not that great. It was a good one. It was entertaining, you know. It dragged in some parts. The screenplay, I think, was originally written in the 90s, and it took a long time for a production company to greenlight it. So by the time it was actually released, it's now, you know, 20, 30 years ago in the past. You definitely get strong 90s vibes, and you also get very strong, like, 90s cop serial killer movie vibes. Like, I definitely got Seven vibes, Silence of the Lambs, you know, things like that. I think it was a movie made for a different time, and I wonder if it would have even been more successful 20 years ago. All in all, it was an entertaining story. I think the storytelling towards the end of it was really interesting. It didn't end the way that you thought it would, so that was good. Yeah, the plot was pretty basic. There were a couple of scenes in the movie that I thought were good. I thought they were going to be better. Anytime you get Oscar-nominated actors in an interrogation room, you're like, oh snap, it's about to go off. My mind was like, Heath Ledger and Christian Bale and Gary Oldman in The Dark Knight are just like, you know, good interrogation scenes. And while this scene was good, I feel like it could have been a little bit better, honestly. There was a very slow build up, and maybe I just missed something, but Deke asks Albert, he says, why is that? And Albert, I didn't understand what the context of the why is that is. And then, you know, Denzel does his thing. He gets all up in his face and he says, why not? And then all hell breaks loose. And afterwards you hear Jimmy telling his superior that basically Albert was visualizing the crime scene and getting excited about it, and so that's how they know that he was the guy. And I do think that was probably the best scene in the movie. There was another scene or sequence of scenes where Albert catches Jimmy in a stakeout situation. Jimmy is already sleepy. Deke has gone to the convenience store to get coffee or something, and basically Albert taunts Jimmy into taking him super far away to show him where the body of the girl is. And so he goes, which is like, all right, like, I don't know what you're doing. And then Albert makes Jimmy dig a bunch of holes. He's like, oh, I buried her right here. No, JK, I buried her over here. No, just kidding, I buried her. I'm like, bro, why are you still digging holes for this dude? Like, he's clearly just playing games with you. Like, what is going on? So I thought that was a little strange, but I'm not going to spoil this. It does carry the story to a certain point. So maybe that's what it was for. Like I said before, I really enjoyed the end of the story the most. I would say the last maybe 10 to 15 minutes I thought were some really good storytelling, because it doesn't go the way you think and it reveals a lot about Deke, but also about Jimmy. That was probably the best part of it. The point of the story is that it's the little things that will catch you. Both Deke and Jimmy were victims of teeny tiny mistakes, pretty much being human. What kind of gets them into trouble or will make something bigger than it needs to be, like teeny tiny little mistakes. Denzel says it's the little things that get you caught. He says that twice and it's like a little on the nose, but it's like, okay, whatever, like we get it. It's the little things, like pay attention to the details, I guess. Cross your T's and dot your I's. I think this movie is like a clear case of a screenplay being decent but not exceptional, because you had good actors and I think they gave decent performances. Yeah, so Jimmy and Albert's relationship is very, Jimmy's the hot shot, I want to get you, bad guy. And Albert's like, oh, you think you can get me, but you can't. I'm not the criminal, I'm not the criminal. Yes, Deke and Albert's relationship was a lot more interesting, just because Albert clearly has a dark-seated past and he's dealing with a lot of guilt and a lot of other sketchy things. And in the movie, obviously, they explain what all of that is, and that comes to surface anytime he's around Albert. And Albert seems like he's never on sure footing with Deke. He's like, oh, I think I can play you like the goody-goody cop, but I'm not sure. And even the coroner says to Deke in a scene, there's good and there's bad, and what I see in your eyes is not good. And I think Albert, as the bad guy, doesn't know what to do with him. All in all, you guys, I think it was a decent movie. You do not need to see this in movie theaters. Bruh, let me tell you. I don't think there's anything that the theater would have added to this. And I think it's kind of great that Warner Brothers has decided to do this with all of their films. Now, it's gonna suck when they release something like Godzilla vs. King Kong, because, you know, obviously you want to see that in the movie theater. But I think for these other movies, these sort of like quieter detective movies, these, you know, more cerebral movies, I think it's great that people have the option to just watch them on their television because they're paying for HBO Max. So good job, Warner Brothers. I'm actually really, really excited to see all of their releases. Yeah, so I think that's it, you guys. The little things. It was good, I guess. It was alright, you know. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell so you can be notified of all things SIBZ as we cover your favorite television and movies. I'm Sid, and good night.